Hey, what's up guys? It's the Tesla rental guy, or Justin. This is the 2024 Tesla Model 3 Highland. It's basically the newest version of the Highland, or Model 3 rather, call it Generation 2. There's a bunch of new changes to this car. One of it being this new color that actually came out slightly before the Highland was released. This is stealth gray. I think it looks amazing. The headlights are different, as you can probably tell from an older Model 3 right here. The rims are actually also different. So you can see those are Photon wheel covers. Still coming with the Hancocks. This still has the old Hancocks. What else is different back here? We have the new brake lights and the new Tesla emblem in back. It used to just be a Tesla emblem. Now it just says Tesla. A lot of people modified that on their cars anyways. I think Tesla did a good job of like listening to feedback and saying, hey, everyone in the aftermarket is just changing to say Tesla in the back. Let's listen to them and change that. I believe the rear diffuser is now all pretty much plastic versus in the old one, it came down for like the actual paint color. I think that looks really, really good. Let me just think of some things that haven't changed much. The charge port hasn't changed. It looks like the camera positioning has not changed. The mirrors are the same. And it looks like the windshield might actually still be the same windshield, which is a good thing for any windshield company makers out there. It has the Generation 4, so it has the 3 cameras right there. It actually does have new camera placement, unfortunately, for every glass company. So the light sensor, or whatever this would be, this is moved right here. And on the older Model 3s, it's actually right here. I think that helps sense or how much like light is being pulled into the camera. I'm actually not sure what that's for. That definitely changes now how every Model 3 windshield is installed. So good luck to the glass companies on that. Let's see here. So the front space, probably pretty similar. It's got some bass wells. It's pretty similar. Not much changed. Windshield wiper fluid has changed a spot. It looks like this clipping's very similar. Just pops right off. It just doesn't have this to get caught on. There are new divots right here for the spacing for this. This goes up automatically now though, right?
No, it just pops.
It just pops up. But yeah, that's the same. This feels sturdier though, this piece. You know how in the older Model 3s, it feels like it's bending when you're shutting it. So that feels like a better quality. Trunk space, probably pretty identical. Yeah, very, very, very similar. This looks like an old trunk mat for the old Model 3. Yeah, very, very, very similar space-wise. The big changes, as most people know, are gonna come with the interior. The first thing I noticed, it's not even the lights. I noticed there's this new reinforcement beam right here that's going to the car. I actually assume that's a reinforcement. I don't actually know, but everyone's big comments is now the interior light system with this, I'll call it raid material, mesh material that they have. The back seat has the new screen, which is very, very similar to the Model S. You can kind of see that from here, and very similar back end finish. This changes on the long range performance. It becomes like an Alcantara type suede material. I think this looks fine. I'm not upset about this quality at all. I think it's better than what it has been in the past. The seats now are ventilated. I think that looks and feels better. This little system right here, if it's anything like the Model S, this is gonna be one of the first things that breaks, unfortunately. They're like catching mechanisms will get caught, and like the pin that stops it will just break. So hopefully that's not the case in the new Model 3, and this kind of holds its quality. This is magnetic, same as the new Ys and the Model S's. And the screen, pretty much the same, right? It feels like it's a little bit more rounded on the bottom, so when you're swiping up, you're not catching your finger. This does not have a screen protector on it. I always suggest, I think it's called Spiniac. Is that what it's called? What is it called?
Is it Spiken?
Spiken, yeah, that's ones we get. I actually get that from my phone also. Yeah, so this feels nice. We haven't driven it yet, so I'm gonna go take it on a drive here in a second. This is very Model S vibes. Flattened on the bottom, this little plasticky looking chrome right here. Turn signals, no stocks, right? So this is gonna feel a lot like the Model S, but this has a responsive feel to it. The Model S did not when it came out, and that feels a lot better than the old ones. It still has the metal scroll wheels, and yeah, it's all looking, a lot of the parts are still very similar. This is a change right here. So these lights are touch now, same with that. That's a nice new change. What else? What else is there a big change on?
Part of the lighting up there, if you can't use the screen for your gear shift, there's hidden drive, neutral, reverse up there.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Model S. It's right here. And so it's hidden right there. So that would be, yeah, so there it goes. So that's park, reverse, neutral, drive. You can go into drive right here. I actually don't mind that. That's as if the screen's kind of glitching out. That's a very interesting spot. I think it makes a lot of sense to be right here. The issue is people would accidentally touch it when they're grabbing their phones. So I get why you'd move it. I think that's a necessity. Yeah, so overall, I think the interior quality is a lot better. This carpet is different for sure. It's like more of a textile carpet, so it doesn't get frayed as easy as my guess. That's a big change. I don't like this. This is what they changed on the new Model Ys. It's like a seems to catch stuff, kind of gets brushed up more. They had like a very cheap rubber beforehand instead of like this frayed, and I think the smooth rubber is better just because you're thinking dog hair. You can already see this car is brand new and it already has some scratch marks on it. This just shows a lot, and unfortunately the driver is the most common person getting out, and people are going to rub their feet. So yeah, that's for the interior. Exterior, we haven't driven it yet. Supposedly it drives a lot smoother. Let's go on a drive really quick and see if we have any feedback on that. So we're gonna go on our drive here with the new Model 3. The big change, as you're gonna see, is it has no stocks, right? So this is gonna be more like the Model S or X vibe. So you can see it just says press your brake, then press your gas to drive. You can modify that and not make it automatic. I do enjoy it being automatic like that. I think in rental modes though, we will take that off so people are more aware of the direction the car is supposed to be going, because it kind of pre-picks it. And I don't like the idea of renters just putting their foot on the brake and then hitting the gas and having the car move. That is a recipe for disaster. So right now, we're gonna pull out of this complex. You can see most of the cars are gone right now. It is a Friday. That's how it should work. If it doesn't, then we will have problems. Overall, let's see, we have a big bump right here. We're actually gonna go over this bump that Jeeves and I have talked about, and that's pretty standard. It's just a big bump. But there is a massive speed bump up here that we took his Model Y over. We've taken the Rivians over just to see how the suspension compares in the same bump. I mean, it's a Grand Canyon of bumps. It's not gonna feel good. I think honestly going a little faster probably helps, but it's like you can just tell from right here, we're about to see it. This thing is just not a small speed bump. I don't know how fast you can go without bottoming out. And so I'm gonna go super slow. Yeah, see, that's a big one. It doesn't matter your suspension, you're gonna feel that one. And overall, I can already kind of tell based on the cracks in the road, this suspension is a little bit smoother. I don't think it's as sportier as the old Model 3. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe they're saving that for the Model 3 performance, and it will have the adaptive suspension. So let's see how much that changes things up. We are in standard steering mode. In standard sport mode, it seems pretty loose. Honestly, I mean, I think we could change the performance. I like a tighter steering wheel. Even then, it doesn't feel as tight, right? And maybe that's some of the advice I got. They like smoother driving cars. I like the tight suspension. I like the tight steering. And this is the standard range, or the base Model 3. And it's got some get up and go. I think the 0 to 20 feels faster, is my guess. And I'm going to test out here in a second. What is this one, 0 to 60? 5 seconds?
5.8.
5.8. Yeah, it's not a fast car, but that's so quick. I mean, back in the day, if you were telling people that your Toyota Camry was doing 5.8, it's like, it's not too shabby. Let's see here. So we're gonna turn out into traffic. Nobody's driving crazy. Yeah, see, the 0 to 20 is where I feel a difference. Not as much in that 20 to 60. I'm not really feeling it much. It seemed more streamlined in the old Model 3. I definitely feel a difference 0 to 20. And I think that's where it's probably intentional, is my guess, because that's where most people are like, ooh, like you can feel that, right? Right off the line, but I'm not feeling much in the 40, 20 to 60. I'm curious how that changes with the performance. Turn here, they just redid this road here off of, what is it, Broadway. So thank God I'm not driving over metal plates anymore. And there's still this right here. They still haven't fixed this, so that's fancy. Overall though, I think it drives pretty smooth. Let's see if there's any other big differences. Obviously the lane change, what do they call this? The turn signal, whatever you guys want to call that. That's on the steering wheel. I do enjoy that actually a lot. I mean, it takes a second of getting used to, but if you think about it, having to move your hands back and toggle up versus just having your thumb there, I think that's a unique thing that's probably gonna be more standard when people get used to that on all cars, because it doesn't make sense to have to pull your hand and reach for it. You could argue the same thing with your stocks here, but this is actually intuitive to me. The horn is in the normal spot. They took this out in the Model S for some reason. They put it right here. I think having the horn now in a different spot is a very bad idea, because everybody is so used to just hitting the horn in the middle. And this is your rage punch, right? When you're pushing down your buttons, I don't feel much rage coming out of me. I don't feel like they're getting the point if I'm just clicking buttons. So that's a nice update from Tesla. They listened to people and they made a unique change. They realized that one didn't work. What else do we have here? This is volume, so this is standard. This actually is smoother. This is different. So it looks like it's the exact same. Maybe there's some haptic feedback on that, but that is definitely more luxurious per se. This is your lights, and it will auto populate right here if you want to keep it off auto. I obviously suggest auto, so when you're driving back from Old Town at 1 a.m., you don't have to remind yourself to put on your lights. And what does this button do right here?
That one's just, it doesn't do anything. I think it just is an indicator for
a different
wheel.
a scroll wheel. Oh, really?
Got right here.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They don't have that in the older Model 3s. So this is the indicator to tell you that there's multiple directions that your scroll wheel can go. So now we're playing music. So we're gonna turn the music off because we don't want any copyright violations from Miss Carpenter on the radio station. So yeah, what I was saying though is I don't know if people are gonna catch on to that. I don't know. It's just not obvious to me that that is telling you that button can go all different directions at all. But we will see. We will see.
You have a shortcut for your camera if you push that in, and then your windshield wiper. If you hold it in, it sprays.
So the windshield wiper, that was standard on the Model S. This camera button is actually new. So that's actually nice. I actually like that, especially if you, I wish it had a front camera. That's the one thing Tesla's still missing. So if you're pulling up on something, you know what the distance is. But that is actually pretty smooth. I do like that, especially, I mean, you already have your turn signal on right here. You can still move this if you want. I actually kind of enjoy it being right here, just so it's not in the way of my directions. But that is interesting. Quick, if you're gonna go in reverse, if you're about to go in reverse, you can check behind you before you put in reverse. This is the base Tesla commands, like Elon, stop recording me, and hopefully that shuts off. Yeah, so overall, most of these changes, I feel like if you've had the Model S, are gonna feel very, very, very similar. If you've only had a Model 3 or Y, this is gonna feel very unique to you, and it's gonna take a second to get used to, but I think it's just a much better design quality. I think the stitching is better on the steering wheels, and it looks like it's on the back versus the bottom now, so it almost appears stitchless from the driver's point of view, except for right here. And that's a change because you could always see the stitching on the older Model 3, so that actually is pretty smooth. I think I like that because how many times you wrap your fingers around the whole steering wheel and drive like you're 90. That's about it. We're passing a Model Y right now. That is not one of our cars. That is a lady who just got her ruby red Model Y. I noticed that a couple days ago. But this is just a much better update. I think it's common sense upgrades. People are gonna enjoy them. They're gonna enjoy the new seats. They're perforated. You have air conditioned seats. That's probably a thing Tesla needed to do 10 years ago when everyone else is doing that. But Tesla has jumped on the bandwagon for that. And then this is your rear screen controls. So that almost covers most of the new changes. I'm sure there's some smaller things that you'll find as you use the car. It seems smoother as like computer wise. I don't know if there's a new chip in these. Are there new chips?
New coming from the 21. This has the AMD Ryzen chip instead of the Intel, but I think your Model Y
has the same stuff. So yeah, this is all very similar to the base Model 3s we've got at the end of the year in terms of hardware, but just overall, I would say they're the same price point, if not slightly cheaper actually, I think, than the Model 3 was last year when we were buying them, and just a solid buy. But we'll see what the interior holds up as. That seems to be a good indicator. The Model 3s we had, the interior just doesn't hold up as well as the Model Ys when they're being rented. So that would be a nice indicator to know like what the build quality difference is, and that will make a big impact for us, because if we're not having B-pillar clip issues, which this actually feels different and more padded now, so that's interesting. Like, yeah, this is all padded. That's interesting. I don't know if that's a completely different material. It doesn't look like it, but it actually is, and you can actually see from right here where it kind of puffs out a little bit, that actually is a padded material. That is different. It was a very, very hard clip, more plasticky type material that had some flexing issues and would break, and we'd have to redo the B-pillar clips. So that is a nice change. Yeah, I think that's about it. This obviously, the front area is completely redone. Overall, it's worth the buy, right? If you're looking for a new car and you're comparing this to a Toyota Camry, it'd be very, very difficult to say, hey, Tesla's not a right decision for me. If you are worried about the range, I think these new ones are very, very efficient from us driving around. There's plenty of chargers here in Phoenix. And when I started doing this, we had the Biltmore charger, we had the two up in North Scottsdale, and that was it. Those were all 72 kilowatt chargers. This one still is 72 kilowatt. I want to say that one's still 72 kilowatts and that one's still 72 kilowatts. So those are the OG chargers. And all these other ones are all brand spanking new in Phoenix. There's plenty of space to charge. I believe this one right here up in Agua Furia Freeway. Yeah, that one was one of the first ones, but all these in the East Valley just did not exist. So there's plenty of chargers open. There's plenty of level 2 chargers that are city owned, like the ones that get installed at hotels that you can use, and most apartment complexes now have them. So I think before you buy a car, if it's not for rental, obviously, you should figure out like, hey, where can I charge this car? Where's the infrastructure near me? Don't rely on superchargers, but now there's enough where you could use them whenever you want. But yeah, so this is the 2024 Tesla Model 3 Highland. It's got the thumbs up for me. Let's see how they last in the rental market though.